Hey, what's up? It's Mr. OSRS. I've achieved the Fire Cape on every account build, from a max main with a T-bow to a 1 defense pure using rune crossbow, which I do not recommend as it takes ages. However, there is one account build I've never played, let alone conquered the fight caves on. That would be the tedious yet rewarding Iron Man mode. The Path of Fire will show my journey to achieve a Fire Cape on my group Iron Man account. Months of progression, insane RNG, and some painful yet hilarious moments went into this video. I hope you enjoy the journey, and let's get started. We still need to lay the necessary foundations for our accounts, which in short for me means a lot of running around Gielinor. I'll be focusing on questing to unlock new areas, teleports, and karambwans for a great food resource. Questing is amazing XP in the beginning of the game. No matter how much most of us hate it, questing is necessary. If you don't have protection prayers, Rings of Recoil can be a great workaround to beat the quest bosses. We're still really early into the account. I've basically only quested at this point, and we're already over 800 total. I want to unlock prayer potions for the group, so I knocked out a few diaries for some herblore XP. Afterwards, I went to the fishing trawler, and I didn't get too unlucky. I got the full outfit at 49 KC. Afterwards, I went over to Temperos so I could get the fishing barrel, so that I could AFK karambwans for a longer time. After running around Gielinor like a madman, I could finally stop for a second and breathe. Next we bounce to the wilderness momentarily to unlock protection prayers and start Slayer. These clips are over a year old, so it's been funny to watch my little fails that I had completely forgotten about. The group and I killed green dragons for the bones, but they also drop hard clues, which came in clutch early on the account because we were able to get a magic short bow, which is a huge upgrade from the bone crossbow. Whenever I invest some time into LMS, I can easily get adamant or rune arrows depending on what I'm needing them for. While doing Slayer early on the account, I opted for the Wilderness Slayer so that I could get some easy points. I ended up getting 2 Larens keys. For the first key, I got Ranar seeds, which will be really useful later on for prayer potions. And then for my second key, I got absurdly lucky and got the Dagonhai Rope Bottom. I didn't even consider it as a drop. Unfortunately, the drop did come a little early on the account, so we can't actually wear the robe bottoms at the moment, but it's still an awesome drop nonetheless. Now that I have protection prayers, I easily knocked out Monkey Madness, which is a great milestone and unlocks a lot of content for the account. I'll now be able to access one of the best early game melee weapons, the Dragon Scimitar, for a cheap price of 100,000 gold pieces. Not to mention this juicy XP drop, which gets me to 60 attack to wield the Scimitar. For those of you interested, we're now sitting at almost 1,000 total level. The next step in the account's progression is the Dragon Defender, which is a famously tedious and long grind. But with my newly acquired Dragon Scimitar, it should be a great place to train my combat stats up, as I'll need 60 defense to equip the Dragon Defender anyway. Through sheer RNG manipulation, I was able to blast through the Defender grind in record time. I got my Dragon Defender 5 kills in. My group members started the Defender grind about 2 hours before me while I was doing Monkey Madness, and somehow I managed to collect enough tokens and get the Dragon Defender before him. RNG can be a cruel mistress. Continuing my journey to look like a main, I completed the Fremennik Isles for the Helm of Nezi, and slaughtered the Axe for 60 defense to equip my Dragon Defender. My group caught wind of the Soul Wars hype, and we realized that we could get a lot of supplies from just playing a minigame. So we went and had some fun, killed some people, killed each other, and here's the rewards. Forgettable Tale of a Drunken Dwarf is hands down one of the funniest quests in this game. My character had one too many drinks that night and decided to black out and go to last man standing to kill some people. While I was doing my LMS grind, it was towards the beginning of Group Iron Man, so there were a lot of noobs there, so that made it a lot easier for me to unlock the rune pouch. The account now has a decent foundation to build from. We've unlocked Karampwans, Protection Prayers, the Rune Pouch, and multiple items to help with our DPS, and more importantly, our aesthetic. We're currently at 1,126 total and 137 quest points, but we've still got a good chunk of progress to get through. The Rune Dad Pod wasn't really meeting our aesthetic requirements, so we decided to head to the treacherous Barbarian Assault to work on our abs. In true Iron Man spirit, we did not have anyone carry us. We grouped with some random players and knocked out the Fire Torso in one long night. Steadily working towards this steep 175 quest point requirement to unlock Barrow's Gloves, I completed Darkness of Hollowvale for a small boost in Thieving XP for Desert Treasure. Underground Pass opens up PVMing with Mage early in the game through Ivan's Blast, and I'm still just bouncing around. I got 100% Hosidius favor because it's needed for the cooking range, which will yield the best cook to burn rates in the game at this point, for more Pilanas. I visited the Guild of Thieves to steal their Rogue's outfit from them. The outfit will literally double my money while training thieving. For being a Guild of Thieves, they were a pretty easy mark. While questing, I'm always paranoid that I'll burn the necessary item, so I always grab multiple for quests. This time I didn't need it, thankfully. Looks like we had about a 66% burn rate at the minimum required cooking level. Now that we've woke up all the important leaders of Gielinor, we can finally fight the time-bending magic chef, who is never quite as strong as I remember from the first time. I always completely stomp him. It's an anticlimactic end to this long saga of questing. After slaying the time-bending magic chef, we have completed RFD, which pushes us slightly over 1200 total level. It's finally time to buy the Barrow's Gloves. Barely though. I literally spent my entire cash stack on the gloves, and I only had 122 GP left afterwards. It's finally time to start PVMing, or running towards death, as I like to call it. The insane RNG streak on this account continues. I literally only did 8 KC at Wintertot, and I pulled the Tome of Fire on the first KC. This is huge for the account. It gives me unlimited fire runes in my shield slot, so I can still use a Staff of Air, whatever other staff that I need at the time for teleporting, magic, etc. This is a huge unlock. I was super stoked at the time. This was my first time unlocking Shazian armor since the Zaya rework. The area looks completely different, but it's pretty much the same exact thing that it was before. I did eventually completely unlock the armor, but I forgot the boots, which completely defeats the purpose because you need the full set to get the bonuses. Now that my group and I have unlocked multiple DPS items, we can actually start to PVM, so we tried our hand at Barrows just to see if we could get lucky. At this point in our account, literally any Barrows piece will be an upgrade. Unfortunately, we just saw runes, which is still awesome as an Iron Man because they are expensive. In my never-ending quest of looking like a main, I ran over to the Deranged Archaeologist to unlock the Black D hide body. Luckily, the Deranged Archaeologist was feeling generous that day, and they gave us the drop right on rate. The Black D hide body is a 1 out of 21, and I got it on 20 kill count. We wanted to try our hands at the Dagonoth Kings, because the Berserker Ring and the Archer Ring would both be huge upgrades. We could just use our main accounts to kill Prime in the meantime. Unfortunately, this didn't go as smoothly as we thought it would. We've both done DKs thousands of times, but I've never done it on this early of an account, and it did turn out to be quite the struggle. Thankfully, we did get the first kill. We went ahead and banked and decided that we would do this again later on, but now just was not the time. Since we are a group Iron account, we decided to split up some tasks among us to complete for the overall progression of our group. While they were gathering supplies and training their stats up for new unlocks, I went back to Last Man Standing to unlock the second rune pouch for another group member. While I'm not a great PKer, I was the best of our group. So usually in my Last Man Standing games, I average about 2 kills per game. Since I'm not a great PKer, there's not too many highlights from this second rune pouch, but I did have this fight where I literally survived with 1 HP and dropped the guy. Such a close fight, I've never had it come down to the wire like that. I was running around looking for my next fight when I stumbled across these two, and they literally didn't attack each other for so long that I thought that I had DC'd from the game. We finally got enough points for the second rune pouch for our group member. We're ending our Last Man Standing career at 10 wins, 188 kills, and 94 games played. While I was grinding Last Man Standing, no time was wasted. My group member went ahead and grabbed the Black Mask for me, which is an awesome upgrade for my Slayer grind. Now that we both have access to the rune pouch, it unlocks a couple inventory spaces for us. This allowed me to bring both the Rune Kite Shield and the Tome of Fire so that I could alch any drops that we get, and that just helps us get a little bit more money. These trips weren't too long, but we ended up going back later on. We're focusing Rex so that we can get the Berserker Ring. This is the best in slot for strength training, or even just doing Slayer, etc. Unfortunately, we do end up seeing the Warrior's Ring. While doing Slayer through Konar, I got a few Brimstone keys to unlock the Brimstone chest. I got the Rune Plate Body, which will be a nice alchable. The diamonds will be handy for Diamond Bolts enchanted at the Fight Caves. These will be a nice supplement to the Broad Bolts we'll be taking. And classic RuneScape fashion, after making the long trek back to the Slayer Cave, I had to go and do a hard clue scroll. I was chasing down Blessed D-Hide so that I could have an easier time in the Fight Caves. Now that we've finally been able to complete the Jelly task, we've got 50 tasks in a row, which rewards us with 270 points. I went back to Neve to unlock some things for Slayer. Mainly, I wanted to get the Slayer helmet upgrade. It seems I've made a habit of spending my entire cash stack, but I went to the Heroes Guild so that I could unlock the Dragon Battle Axe and the Dragon Mace. The Battle Axe is basically a free super strength potion, and the Dragon Mace will come in handy when I try my hand at Seracnus. Unlocked 55 crafting so that I could actually make the Slayer helm. Headed over to Soul Wars so that I could imbue it. This allows me to use the Slayer helm and get the bonus with both melee, range, and magic. Afterwards, I went back to Slayer and ended up getting my first superior. I was getting a bit bored of Slayer, so to break up the monotony of the grind, I headed over to Barrows to try my hand at a few chests. For my route, I went to the Ardoin Monastery, and then went to the Fairy Ring. Afterwards, I went ahead and made an arrow so that I would stop running the wrong way, because that will happen if you don't look at the world map or know exactly where you're going. I ended up getting the DH plate legs, which is awesome because it's going to be used for both Slayer and my future PBM grinds. Speaking of PBM grinds, let's go ahead and move our house over to Hosidius. This is going to move us closer to the temple so that we can kill Sarachnis. The reason why I want to try to kill Sarachnis is because it has a really good chance at dropping the Grubby Key, and the Grubby Key would allow us to get Ceradome and Bruise and Super Restores early on the account, which would be an awesome upgrade. If I don't get them, it's really not a big deal because I can just use prayer potions and also like baskets of strawberry. Eventually I got tired of failing. I would either misclick and mess up, or I just wouldn't do enough damage on the boss before I ran out of food. So I asked one of my group members to come through, and we tried a few different methods, and I think we could have done it. It just would have cost a lot of food, and if we just upgrade a few pieces of our armor, it's going to make this a lot faster. Definitely once our levels are higher too, because we'll be able to do more damage overall. And it would have been much more efficient to get full Graceful on the account, but I do like to consider burnout and the amount of fun I'm having on the game. So after I unlocked full Graceful, I continued to bounce around. I completed the Haunted Mine quest earlier on to get the Salve Amulet. Now I'm using some of the Slayer points that we got from our Slayer grind, so we get the Slayer Ring. This allows us to teleport directly to Tarn's Lair, instead of running through a really annoying maze. There are guides on it, but honestly not even worth the hassle. Soul Wars was definitely my preferred method for imbuing any items, so that's where I went to imbue my Salve Amulet. I had another brain fart moment with a Master Clue. I thought it said Sears, but it actually said Relica. We'll just quickly move on from that. I went to the Dagnith Rex so that I could try to get the Berserker Ring. Eventually I did get it at 190 KC. Again, I went back to Soul Wars so that I could unlock the imbued version, which literally doubles the stats of the ring. Some quick milestones on the account. I went to Tithe Farm to unlock 60 farming, and then I used the rest of the Daganeth bones from our DK trips to get 60 prayer, slowly working towards 70 prayer for piety. We wanted to try out some of the wilderness bosses because they have some awesome drops for supplies. We started off at Callisto because we both knew of an easy safe spot. We didn't realize that it was only singles though. Since we weren't going for anything in particular, we didn't worry about learning a new safe spot for Callisto. We just headed over to Venanatus because we knew there was a multi-zone. It'd be awesome to get a dragon pickaxe just for convenience, but really we're just doing it for fun. Venanatus also has a lower range defense than Callisto, so this definitely helps speed up some of our kills. Since we were in a safe spot that allowed us to just chill, talk, watch videos on the side, whatever we wanted, which does distract you while you're out in the wilderness, which can prove to be fatal. When this PKer started attacking my group member, I didn't think twice. I instantly tried to attack him, realized that my attack options were off, and this turned out to be a great decision. Because if I would have skulled up, they definitely would have went after me, and I would have lost a blessed item.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
To add some context behind this clip, my buddy Chappie is insanely spooned wherever he goes. This was his first Black Dragon task. He went and did the regular Black Dragons and got the Draconic Visage. Insane. Whenever I reach an increment of 10 for my Slayer tasks, I always go to Konar because you get a big boost in Slayer points. This does wrap up my 100th task, which awards 450 points. That should be more than enough to skip for Jad. I finally got my first Jad task. Unfortunately, I did bring tomatoes in, which only heal 2 hit points at a time, which is not really comparable to strawberries or actual Saradomin brews, which is what I'm used to. It took me almost 40 waves to realize that I was using tomatoes. So once I realized, I did start to panic a bit, and this did end up being fatal. If you don't succeed at first, try and try again, as they say. Since I had already failed once, I didn't want to fail again, so I started conserving supplies for the end, and I started using the pure method, where you just pull out one monster at a time, so that you can just focus on your prayers, make sure that you're not taking any extra damage. I know I already said it, but I've done Jad so many times, and still, when I was on wave 62, I could instantly start feeling my heartbeat through my chest, and I was like, this is it. This is the time. Don't mess up. When you're on a main, you never really notice how much damage the healers do, but when you're on a pure or a lower defense account, you really start to feel that damage add up, and so I wanted to get the healers stuck as quickly as possible. Once I get the healer stuck, it's just a matter of switching prayers, which I've done a million times, and I've still messed up a million times. After months of grinding, I finally defeated Jad. I finally got my fire cape, and I'll still just be called a noob for having a cheese cape. Do I care? No. I love the fire cape. The aesthetic on it is awesome. I love the fight caves, they're a lot of fun. This was an awesome journey. I have never played an Iron Man like this before, so it was awesome to see how far I could take it, and this will be the end of the journey. Thank you for watching The Path of Fire. Please remember to like and subscribe if you made it this far, and I hope you have a great day.